time it is now. I know what time it is now. It's showtime.
Alright, first up we have Granda, if I'm pronouncing that properly. There's really not much to say about this guy. As the first boss, he was pretty trivial. I mean, you just shoot him in the face a few times and whoop, there he goes. As you can see, it is really easy to take him out. I remember feeling clever when I first fought him, younger, about being able to shoot his legs out, make it easier. He has a few good lines, but otherwise he's pretty forgettable. So, as you can see, that took all of 30 seconds. The second is the attack carrier, which is unique in the sense that it is the only alternate boss in the game. Every level except Corneria has exactly one boss, although whether or not you choose to fight them, depends on your path. Like Sector X, you can take the warp out of there, and same with the asteroid belt. But they all have exactly one boss. It is pseudo-unique in the sense that it is one of the only two bosses in this game that is carried over from the original Super Nintendo Star Fox. He's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. I prefer this one to the other one. It's a little bit more difficult. I mean, let's face it, it's still pretty easy. The only reason it's taking me this long now was because I don't have the super duper lasers. I just have the normal super lasers. I do like the guy's voice though. It's a pretty cool voice. Not my favorite voice here, but a good one. And those fireballs are annoying that he shoots out. Well, he's not shooting them out yet. When he shoots them out, they get annoying. Otherwise, there's really not a whole lot I can say about this boss. I don't have any particular disposition for or against him. He's just there. Also, he's a lizard, which puts him in the minority. Most of the bosses are monkeys. Some of them are lizards. So we're off to Rock Crusher, which is the second boss that comes over from the original game. Although I think this one has been significantly changed, whereas the attack carrier, I believe, if my memory serves, is pretty straightforward. It's pretty much identical. This guy was a little bit tricky. Like the first time I fought him, mind you, like I said, the first time I played this game I was a lot younger, but the whole energy shield absorby attack thing kind of threw me off at first. So, woo, pew. This guy's alright. I like him. He's not too bad. His attacks, his secondary attacks here, the lightning and the purple ring dingly dang stuff, were kind of tricky to avoid as well at first. I mean, it's trivial now, and you look at it and you think, how the hell could you possibly have had trouble with it? The only other issue I have with this one is that occasionally it does the game has a tendency to force you to point toward a place you don't want to be. This boss, I believe, is unique in the sense that I'm fairly certain it's the only boss who has different dialogue depending on who's present. If Falco isn't here, he says he admits defeat, and then he turns over and then screams, "If this does not work," and then proceeds to start shooting you. And then you can see what he says if Falco is present. And then Fox is an asshole, and we fly off. And we deal with Borg, which this guy just kind of annoyed me. He wasn't a very interesting boss. He wasn't a very exciting boss. I do like the hands. His hands are really cool. He didn't even have the good boss music, so this was pretty much the failure boss. I hated this boss, in the sense that he just was not intriguing at all. I do remember, though, my dad always used to make fun of his voice and say that "you are a toad" whenever he'd watch me play the game, because he really hated Slippy. As a lot of people tend to do so. The guy does have a rocket punch, so you have to give him that. I'm just really confused. I was always confused why no one seemed to be able to understand what the fuck he's saying, despite the fact that he's coming through the comm channels pretty damn clear. He's kind of hard to hit, especially when it zooms in really far, because then his eyes are right at the top of the screen. It's hard to aim at that. Also, he is unique in the sense that you can actually see his display. Like, his comm display is that little red dot. You can actually see that little red dot on the robot itself right there. Also, that stupid panel he throws at you hits me every frickin' time. I always fly into it. This is one of my favorite bosses, but that might just be because it's in a Landmaster, because the Landmasters are the shit. I do feel conflicted about this boss because it seems like it's just a natural life form here. We're just fucking shooting it to death. I mean, Slippy gets out. We could have just stopped. But no, we just kept shooting the poor thing. But, you know, it could be a bioweapon, but I really doubt it because there's all kinds of other skeletons around here. But in case you guys haven't figured out yet, if you didn't read the description of the video, I'm going through and talking a bit about the bosses of the game, because I felt remiss in my duties if I didn't do a montage and some discussion, because, you know, I love the boss music and I love the bosses in the game itself, so I felt I should, you know, take some time to talk about that. Also, I need to, you know, see how much I can milk out of this one game. I was worried that people might get upset about that, but then I remembered that not many people watch me, and second of all, it's my channel, I'll do what I want. But yeah. Then the satellite core, this one was just annoying. And there's really not a whole lot to say about it. It doesn't talk, it's barely, I'm not even sure if you can call it a boss, it doesn't have a name. The wiki doesn't have anything for it, I just call it the satellite core because it's the closest thing this level has to a boss. I don't know if this is an actual boss or not. I don't know if you'd call that. I mean, I could see arguments for and against it. I decided to include it because, well, why the fuck not? But it's just really annoying because it's just back and forth and back, and those blue lasers are a fucking pain. You can't barrel roll out of them, and once there's a lot of them shooting out at once, they get to be quite annoying. I'm really glad I saw a Play with Peter thing where he just goes through and drops bombs at the core, and then I realized how obvious and intelligent that idea was, because I just don't use bombs on the bosses very much, but right here it makes very good sense to do so. And as you will see, that is exactly what I did do. I guess this level might qualify as having multiple bosses because sometimes you fight Starwolf here, but I think that really that's just more like an additional facet to this boss. It's not a separate boss because you fight them simultaneously. So I don't think it's the same thing. At least I'm not counting it as the same thing. I left too much ending sequence in these. I should have just cut that out. There's no need for that. You've seen it all. This boss may or may not be named after Olmec, so he is automatically that much, you know, a good 10% cooler. He is one of my least favorite bosses simply because he is hard. Not because, I mean, for someone who's competent at the game, maybe he's not hard, but I always have trouble flying through things. There's one thing that I've had trouble in this game is I tend to fly into shit, as you've probably seen. And the stuff in this boss fight is particularly bouncy. You hit one thing and you go careening off like 8 of them. It's not like other objects where you'll hit it and then just kind of fly through it and then just keep going. This one you hit it and you bounce. You bounce fast, you bounce hard, and you never ever stop. And it is really annoying and very dangerous. I don't think I hit anything this time. I can usually go through without hitting things, but if I do hit something, I usually end up hitting a shit ton of stuff because I just keep bouncing around. I think it happens most often when I get too close to him, which is exactly what Falco told me not to do. But I guess that's what I get for not listening to Falco. Oh, yeah, see, I almost ran into all those. I don't know how I missed some of those, but other than the fact that it's very difficult. Oh, there it is. I knew I hit something in here. Other than the fact that it's difficult to avoid the frickin' things, it is a boss that I enjoy. Apparently, if you take long enough, that this hallway is not infinite, and you eventually run into a dead end, that will end up, that will then slowly begin damaging you. Although I guess that is also not infinite, and that if you have a Game Shark or something, you can pass through it and be in a void where he's defenseless. This is one of my favorite bosses. Not the beginning part. The beginning part's stupid. Well, okay, it's not stupid, but it's not. It's definitely not one of my favorite bosses. I seem to recall these things being a lot easier. I think either my nostalgia goggles are kicking in, or the random number generator on my N64 at my parents' house was a lot nicer than this, because I don't recall these things dodging nearly as much. Same with Andros, when he teleports. I don't remember that happening nearly as often on my N64 at home. So I think the emulator, must just change this a bit so that, must have some sort of slight difference in it that causes things to duck around a lot more. This guy he has my favorite voice and probably my favorite all-around boss. He's probably the most difficult to hit. At least on this emulator he is, because he just zips around so much. Like I said, like on my N64, like I said at home, I don't remember him doing that much. He tended to pretty much just kind of stay where he was. And I always wondered why people were saying that he was fast. I'm like, he's not moving. But in here, as you can see, he is zipping all over the fucking place. And it makes him very difficult to hit. I mean, he hardly ever hits you, but he is really hard to hit because he's constantly moving. I don't think I barely land a hit on him for quite a while in this part here, until eventually he lands on the ship, as you'll see, and he says that he'll take you. He says, "I can take you guys out from this ship." That was a terrible accent. That was a terrible accent. Attempt at an accent of his, but he doesn't actually say the line this time because I think someone else is talking. So. See, there he is. He's on the ship now. And once he's on the ship, he just kind of sits there and shoots at you for a while until eventually he leaves. But it makes him incredibly easy to hit. But I really love hearing him scream, "Cocky little freaks!" That's enjoyable. Usually I can kill him before he gets to the ship. And as you can see... Oh, I still got a hit plus 10 on that one. I was going to say I was only hit plus 5. Anyway, he's definitely my favorite boss, I think. Then we have Saucerer, which is a giant saucer. There's not much more to it than that. You shoot the hatches, and then the hatch and the core, and that's going to show up anytime now. Hatches and cores. It's very reminiscent of Independence Day, as I'm sure a lot of people have said. I don't remember off the top of my head which one came out first, so I can't say which is ripping off the other one. Actually, in all honesty, it's probably just a coincidence. Neither is probably ripping off of either, but it still is a quinky-dink. This level is kind of annoying because the bad guys and the good guys look really similar, although it should be noted that the game gives you hits. Your little hit counter increases no matter which one you shoot. So it doesn't really encourage you to not shoot down the friendlies, because you still get hits for them. In fact, to get the medal, you pretty much have to shoot everything you see, regardless of what side it's on. But I've never been able to get the medal on here. See, and then you have bombs. And bombs just fix everybody's problems. I don't know why I wasted my time going for that. I should have just finished this. See, because now I had to wait again. Yeah. But see, I mean, this just showcases the variety of the different kinds of bosses here. I mean, a lot of them follow the same basic pattern of, shoot flashy part, shoot other flashy part, shoot third flashy part, dodge. Mixed around in various orders, shoot flashy part, dodge, shoot different flashy part, rinse, repeat. But as you can see, that is not always the case in here, because I mean, sometimes you got the other ships flying around, sometimes you got, and the way in which they attack you is, pretty different for each boss too. So it is, by and large, oh, I didn't make it. It's pretty neat, and it's just the diversity of it. And I really enjoyed that. It helped things feel, fresh, helped to add to the enjoyment of it when you're not doing the same thing every time. And this blows up, yay! Boom. This guy's another one that I really enjoyed. He can be difficult depending on how stupid you are like that, how much you let the lava get to you. If you don't shoot him down really fast, the lava does start burning you up, and that's a bigger danger really than he is. He does throw a lot of health at you though, but sometimes you just can't pick it up. Sometimes the rocks fly funny, or you just are retarded and don't fly through them, through the rings. Usually he doesn't have an issue though, but sometimes he does things like that. You know, sometimes he's mean with his attacks, depending on how, you know, ruthless the game feels at any given point. I like him though. I especially like his molten texture he's got going there. And then I fly into lava sometimes. That's also not smart. If you ever play this game and you're on this level, don't fly into the lava. That's probably not a smart thing to be doing. And the little coward runs away a lot too. So yeah, he's pretty cool. I like him. He's definitely not my favorite, but he is cool. I like him. I mean, he looks really insectoid, and I never understood why he did that when he does. But oh, and I lost my wing. And that attack is mean too. Also, I like the way he dies. He explodes in a pillar of light. I always thought that was really cool. Well, he explodes in a pillar of light and then an explosion of light.